It was in early August 30 years ago that protesters took to the streets of Burma, as it was called then, taking their stand for democracy after decades of military control. The movement became known as 8888, the date of a nationwide general strike, August 8, 1988, a year before the country was renamed Myanmar. Thousands marched in the then capital Rangoon and in cities and towns across the nation. In its crackdown, the military opened fire. But the demonstrations continued and grew. In the weeks to come, 3,000 protesters were killed, another 3,000 jailed, and 10,000 fled the country. From these protests, a leader for the movement emerged.
And this was the really beginning of the growth of, the image of Aung San Suu Kyi as the great democracy and human rights icon.
And since that beginning, 30 years ago, she won the Nobel Peace Prize while under house arrest. And her political party went on to win general elections 3 years ago. But even with that, she does not run the country. The military's control over the civilian government is guaranteed in the Constitution. Dunyapak Pritcharach is a professor of Southeast Asia politics at Thailand's Thammasat University.
We need to understand the nature of democracy in Myanmar today. It was developed by the former military leader. Myanmar nowadays is in the process of democratic transition or democratic consolidation. I think Myanmar now is in the halfway.
Even though the nation is finding its feet as a new democracy, many feel that since taking office, Aung San Suu Kyi has ignored human rights and freedoms when she should be speaking out and fighting for them, like she did 30 years ago.
The idea that she was going to be a human rights defender in the leadership of the government has now really been dashed because, as she said, I'm not a human rights activist, I'm a politician. And unfortunately, those words have proved to be prophetic because, she has become the kind of politician that an earlier version of her may have railed against.
While the movement that brought Aung San Suu Kyi to where she is today is celebrated, the time when she or another democratically elected civilian leader will actually lead the country is still in the distance. Scott Heidler, Al Jazeera.